cable. And I haven't even gotten down to the damage part yet. Okay, wow, and apparently we had a little problem with the metal. It's all the way over here. This probably didn't really cause a problem. Except for maybe this over here. There's actually a little bit there. That's not great. Also, look right here, there's a little bead of liquid metal right there. That's enough to just run around on this board and touch 2 points. And if it touches the 2 wrong points, it could cause some major problems on the board. I'm not really sure how...
Major problems? I never fixed a PS...
When you're removing these boards, you just...
or a PS4.
Just flip it over. The liquid metal will just hang out here right on the EPU. Also, that would be a big dry spot right here. So we'll need to address that before we get it back together. But the part we really need to look at is right here. Let's get set up on the... And there are the files. So that shows how we use recovery to save files that even have been deleted off the SD card. Another great feature of recovery is the system crash computer recovery feature. So if my computer that has all this footage on it crashes, I can go into this tab right here called System Crash.
Leave it to me.
And then I can go right down here and recover all the files even from a computer not bootable, a green screen of death, or even a time screen of death. If you want to check it out, I'll have my link in the description. That'll take you right to it now. This is where it goes on the power supply and into the metal plate, and that's what needs the power supply in. So as far as I can tell, what happened is somebody put the wrong screw that was too long in the power supply and through this metal plate, which then hit the bolt and this chip right here and caused all this damage. So this is my chip for PS5, and here okay, chip is definitely not exposed. So I'm going to clean this up a little bit so you can have a little closer look here and see if this is salvageable. So this one is okay. This one is okay. Okay, this one is okay. This one I'm not sure about. That's hard to have to look everything up. This one I'm also not sure about. This is just gaming on PS5, and just from what the customer says, no attempt at reconciliation or paying for this new fix or paying for a new PS5 did not repair shops should be ashamed of themselves. I would not use this even customer. So that's about all I can tell right now with this chip still installed. And next I'm going to remove the chip and see if there's any other chips that think we just need to rebuild this connection right here. It looks like the rest of the connections are actually fine. I will go through and test them just to make sure. It's been kind of sunken down a little bit, so when I go through and put this new chip on, I'm probably going to have to restore these connections one by one to the chip, because this is going to be much lower than the plane that the chip is sitting on. A while back, I tried to fix the PS5 that tech wraps destroyed. If you watch that video, you know I got it. But I have the picture because PS5 to repair side. So I'm just going to put the flux on the chip first. That will help the solder flow. Then I will just heat up the chip until the solder melts. Then I'll remove the chip. Install it on the plug board. Following the chip is before the helmet thing under there. So that's the
On the line.
And none of them are testing. I'm going to install the house on this in a little bit, but first I want to get it installed in time. Before we get it fixed, now before we get it together to test it, but as well, let's check that. We'll just install that. Place the phone. And now with the motherboard installed, plant installed, plug it in, and show us a big drop. That's it. So, that's the part.
Leave it to me.
So, going through and checking all of the pieces on this board, and all of the pieces show that they're fine and everything's good. Check the voltages, kind of plug in, power lines, and every component on this board has all the voltage that it should. So going through and checking all of the fuses on this board and all of the pieces.
Who is the mysterious villain in Zootopia 2? Since the teaser didn't reveal much, it's time for theories. If you look closely, even though Judy and Nick are still working as cops, they're actually running from their own police department, with Gary the Snake tagging along. And here's where it gets interesting. The first movie was all about not judging others by appearances, so maybe Gary was framed for some kind of crime in his lifetime, and we didn't see any details in the first film, so it makes sense that everyone assumed he was responsible for Judy and Nick's movie. Chasing the police so what's behind it. Some fans think it could definitely was evidence of last fish, which would be is the teaser of the people, and we also see the suspicious looking rings in the snake.
Did you know that Violent Inside Out is a documentary for the film that starts with her being born when her parents hold her back for watching the movie again? Noticed something very suspicious, and it both her parents are standing, which is something women that just gave birth don't usually do. Also, is a woman like someone who just went through childbirth and is even wearing regular clothes instead of husband and everything, and herself is also looking at the same way. This suggests that someone else actually gave birth to her baby after she was pregnant, which was in her maternal parents. Here's where it gets even weirder. It's possible, but it's highly unlikely. It's just more easy to know she's an outlet for years for people who get stuck in the later on the Pacific Family Island inside the Riley's Mother. It must be a tail beasts or a tribe of a chain of diamond. The is chocolate and show is scattered to show. But here's the twist this time. The truth of it all. Boruto's heart is dying. And it's the boat to walk the other side of the sea. Some boy at the tower there. And it's not even a chocolate. There's no one. There's respect. This kid.
Impossible. It's one day point. It's just like we lost.
2% cash back. The Wells Fargo Active Cash Credit Card.
Recently, there's been a lot of talk about PS5s and whether the liquid metal leaks out of where it's supposed to be, and also whether it creates dry spots on the APU. The first thing we're going to look at is this PS5 that I paid $260 for because it'll randomly turn off when you're playing a game. Once I get that figured out, I'm going to open up these two PS5s, look at the condition of the liquid metal, and see if there's dry spots on the APU and if any of the liquid metal has spilled out. I played the game Horizon Forbidden West for the PS5 for about 18 minutes, and this is the error that I got. Now, I think I might know what's causing it, and it does have to do with the liquid metal. Let's get it opened up and have a look. This video is sponsored by iFixit. I played the game Horizon Forbidden West. Recently, there's been a lot of talk about PS5s and whether the liquid metal leaks out of where it's supposed to be, and also whether it creates dry spots on the APU. The first thing we're going to look at is this PS5 that I paid $260 for because it'll randomly turn off when you play the game. Once I get that figured out, I'm going to open up these two PS5s, look at the condition of the liquid metal, and see if there's dry spots on the APU and if any of the liquid metal has spilled out. I played the game Horizon Forbidden West for the PS5 for about 18 minutes, and this is the error that I got. Now, I think I might know what's causing it, and it does have to do with the liquid metal. Let's get it opened up and have a look. This video is sponsored by iFixit. And now let's have a look at this fan. I mean, it's not clean, but it's really not that dirty. Clean it before. Put it back in, but I'm not really too worried about the heating on this PS5, although I have plans to get the heat sink and it'll go plug. So it could be overheating. Usually if it's overheating, it'll show the heat message on the screen. But on the PS5, I'm not sure if it always does that or not. This PS5 also has not been opened before. The warranty seal is still intact. That. There we go. Okay, now we can take this top plastic piece out. Let's see how dirty this looks now on the inside. Okay, quite a bit of dirt there on that little baby heat sink right here. It's not horrible, it's much worse, but it's not pretty dirty. Now I'm going to take off these 43 totally necessary screws. We can get this top metal plate off and we can get down to the floor. Okay, finally got all those screws. So many screws, I need to take a nap now. Oh, that's because I forgot a screw. That'll do it. I mean, that's part of it. It's not full. There we go. Still on the pipe, but too bad. Okay. Nothing too crazy there, I don't think. Okay, here we go. Yeah. That's a massive dry spot. So this is what I've used on a lot of PS5s. There will be liquid metal going close to the APU, but then there'll be a dry spot. This one has a huge dry spot on it. See the same thing over here on the heat sink, and it's even like oxidized right here. I see that as probably being the main thing that's causing this issue with PS5 just randomly turning off during the game. Now, unfortunately, I can't prove it until I sure for sure. So what I'm going to do is re-spread the liquid metal underneath the heat sink so that hopefully restores that thermal connection until it's clear and makes it so this PS5 stays way cooler. Now, I still think there's a certain amount of overheating error if it is overheating, but it seems like sometimes PS5 just don't connect. The first thing I want to do is take the liquid metal that's already there, just suck some of it up from around the edge right here. Take some of this and rub it in until that oxidation is gone. Get some nice fresh liquid metal there. I don't know how well it's coming across on camera. Oh, there we go. That's pretty good. So, all this right here, oxidation on the APU. And that's going to make it so the liquid metal just can't be right against the APU. It's got kind of that layer of oxidation there, which will definitely cause a problem. So we need to get that off first, and we can respread this liquid
What'll it
metal.
be?
And we should be good to go. We can't get all of it off. We got most of it. So what I'm going to do is put some more liquid metal right here, and then we'll get it rubbed in. Or that's what we'll try. That's the goal anyway. There we go, we're getting it. See how that part I just rubbed is a different color? That's rubbing all that oxidation off. That's what we need. So that's looking much better on the heatsink. Now we need to do the same thing over here on the APU.
I won't lose to you.
Okay, now let's add a little liquid metal over here. Okay. And then, you know, a little extra just for good measure. Make sure we have a perfect amount of metal. How much we play together? In our game, it seems to play for more than 20 minutes. Actually, the first time I tested it, it played for 45 minutes, and then every time I played after that, it would get lower and lower, and the last time was only 18 minutes. So mostly it's going to go past 45 minutes once we get this all back together. So I'm not actually going to do any cleaning on this PS5. I'm not going to clean this heatsink. I'm not going to clean the main heatsink. I want to know the liquid metal and dry spot on the APU is what's causing this to shut down. So the only thing I did was take it once, spread the liquid metal, add some more liquid metal, and then put it back together. So that should be ready to tell us if that was the issue or something else. And now with our PS5, put it all back together. Let's get it started up so we can play games. Two of my favorite iFixit toolkits are the iFixit Manta Driver Kit. This one has tons of bits for almost anything you might want to get into. It's also got the larger driver and a bunch of bits for larger drivers. The iFixit Driver Kit has a lot of options of bits and a driver along with the extension, but then it also has a 5 suction cup USB strip along with I think that that's a ton of other toolkits. One of them is the market. So iFixit developed this from separate data 50,000 repair guides. They took the most common screwdrivers that people needed and put it all into one set of screwdrivers. And all of these screwdrivers fit into this compact quality tool bag, so they're with you and ready to go wherever you go. iFixit is backed by a lifetime guarantee, and the people that work there are top Let's get it started up. Stop our fingers. How long it takes before it turns off is going to almost play on camera just to get super comfortable. Let's see how long it takes. And after 56 minutes, the PS5 did turn off, and it took a long that I had it go before it turned off, so I can't say that respreading the liquid metal made a difference in this case. Now, I still think the liquid metal needs to be respread on APUs like that where there's a dry oxidized spot, but in this specific case, I'm not sure that's the cause of the problem. One of the other things that might be causing this is either a bad power supply or a power supply that's really dirty, so let's get this back apart and take a look at that. There we go. And you can see right here, looks like there's already like a little dry spot kind of forming. Let's keep taking it down and see what the condition of the power supply is. Oh, wow. That power supply is extremely so So all of that power supply that all these holes that is completely uploaded. And in addition, that from this big all these stars and other stars around us, it's not impossible. You're about a helicopter on a 5,000-ton rocket ported into the frozen void space.
You will regret ever coming here, intruder.
So I'm going to give this a good cleaning, and then we'll start it up. We'll see if it'll play longer than 45 minutes. Now, in order to clean these heat sinks, since I'm going to have to tip it up, I don't want this liquid metal to run into place. So I'm actually going to install the motherboard onto this. Cleaning and there we go. Get how dirty that is. This is going to be satisfying. Oh yeah, look at that. And the heat sink down here, that kicked off looking pretty good. So, cooling on this is definitely not improved. So I am hoping this might fix it. The thing about this is, you already got that part of the get much warmer than it should be. So that might cause more oxidation on that APU. And now with the PS5 clean, put back together and start it up and play our game, see how long we play. And start. I've been playing now for 1 hour and 11 minutes and absolutely no shutting down. Everything's working great on the PS5, so I think between the liquid metal not being spread correctly on the APU and then it being so dirty and plugging both the sink and the power supply, that's what was causing it to shut down. On the PS4, when it overheats, it shows a message on the screen, but on the PS5, it seems like it doesn't always do that. Now I'm really curious, though, if we'll find dry spots on the APU of this PS5 and this PS5. So let's get them taken apart and see what we find. Alright, let's start by taking apart the first PS5. There we go. I'm not going to show this whole process, but this PS5 is very clean. Also, this PS5 has more ventilation holes right here for the power supply, which is interesting. So I'm going to get this torn down off camera. Let's take a look at the APU, see if there's any dry spots on this one. It is important to note that this PS5 does have the warranty seal intact, so nobody's been into this. Again, I don't know the history of these two PS5s. I bought these as salvage from an online liquidation company, so I know no history at all. These also are the 1215A models, which is the newest model of PS5. And I'm going to show this part of the teardown, even though I said I wasn't going to, just because this is the first time that I've had one of these on my channel. I'll show this part of it at least. And this is the one with the much slimmer board. I mean, motherboard on this is just this right here on the original PS5 model. Edge and hopefully everything as well. So this is significantly smaller, which is pretty typical with Sony's 1215 models. And instead of 43 screws holding this metal plate down, there's only 31. So, I mean, it's not a huge difference, but definitely nice looking 42. And now with all those screws out, let's have a look under this metal plate. Just got a bunch of little thermal pads. Nothing too crazy. And here we go. Let's see what it looks like. So far, not bad at all. So this liquid metal, this is what it's supposed to look like. No dry spots. Liquid metal surrounds easily and looks nice and fresh. There's no oxidation. So this is what it's supposed to look like. Unlike on the PS5 today, that one just had such a huge dry spot. This is the newest model, so it hasn't been around near as long as the other PS5 we just looked at. So I would hope that the liquid metal looks better in this, and it definitely does. Hopefully this means that Sony's getting their PS5 liquid metal issues figured out, but time will tell. Let's get this other PS5 opened up and see what the liquid metal looks like on that one. And this next PS5 is a model 1115A, so this one's a little bit older. Well, let's see what we find on the thermal paste on the PS5. This PS5 is very clean. It probably has been used, but it's super clean and has not been taken apart before. And here we go. Oh, big time dry spot. So on this one, you can very clearly see this is a big dry spot. The liquid metal just won't really, it sort of spreads over here. So the difference between this one and the very first one we looked at is this is not oxidized yet. Because when it's oxidized, then that makes it so the liquid metal won't even spread out over it, and you have to rub all that oxidation off. So this is actually good news because this will still spread out here. But the bad news is that there's definitely a very large dry spot. You can see that most of the liquid metal is just all around the outside of this APU chip. So this whole middle part, in my opinion, is not getting effectively cooled. Let's see if we can spread this back out. Yeah, it's spreading. So that's the good thing about this one is even though there was a large dry spot, it had not oxidized yet. And so it is pretty easy to spread still. One of the things that I've seen people discussing online recently is whether the liquid metal will just leak out and leak all over the board. In my opinion, that is highly unlikely unless the PS5 has experienced some sort of fall or drop or something like that. Sony has done a good job of creating a seal around the liquid metal so it doesn't leak out. I'm not saying that it can't. I'm not saying that it hasn't happened. I'm just saying that I find that unlikely. As far as the liquid metal having dry spots, between my experience taking these apart and what I've shown today, it's very clear that PS5s do have a problem with dry spots on the APU and oxidation on those dry spots on the APU. How widespread this problem is, I have no idea, but I know that I have seen it on a number of PS5s, and I pointed it out in several of my previous PS5 repair videos. I've seen a lot of people online saying that you need to keep your PS5 horizontal instead of vertical, because when it's vertical, the liquid metal has a tendency to kind of slide down on the APU, so it's not cooling the top of it. My opinion is that it's probably better to have the PS5 horizontal because I can show you right here that the liquid metal moves very easily. You can see that just having it up like this, the liquid metal is already cooling down here at the bottom. And if I change it the other way, the liquid metal will go down to the bottom of the APU right here. So my opinion is that it's probably better to keep it horizontal. Again, that's just my opinion based on what I've seen. A lot of people have their PS5 vertical and have absolutely no problems at all. I think it's probably good to periodically open up your PS5 and respread that liquid metal, especially if there's oxidation on the APU. Then you need to clean that all off and respread the liquid metal so it's got a nice surface to match with the heatsink so it can cool effectively. I would say if you're using this a lot, maybe once every 1 to 2 years. The other thing we definitely found today is that PS5s are very sensitive to overheating, and they're very sensitive to having the heatsink and the power supply plugged with hair and dust. The PS4 was less sensitive to this. I saw PS4s that had the heatsink mostly plugged with hair and dust, so they can still cool okay. The other thing to note on the PS5 is that it doesn't always give an overheating message, so if your PS5 is randomly turning off, you might want to give it a good cleaning. I have a video showing you exactly how to do that I'll put up on the screen now, so go check it out if you need to clean the PS5. Thanks again for watching today, and I hope you have a good one.
It isn't flashy. It isn't loud. Say, it's not for everyone. This is 1869. It's been out. The unrivaled needs me.
The person that sold me this PS5 says, I have a PS5 I bought brand new in 2021, but had an ex-girlfriend get mad at me and pour about a 6-ounce mixed spring into my PS5. It still turns on, but it won't update. What do you think I should do? Well, of course you should email me so I can make a video out of it. Well, they did, so I paid them $125 because they just wanted to get rid of it and see me make a video out of it. Now, I don't know how long ago that was, so let's plug this thing in and see if it still turns on, and then we'll get it apart and see what's wrong and if we can fix it. This video is sponsored by I Think the Voltage. Okay, I'll plug in this kind of power. Does console like that? Thanks. Black screen and touch display. So this is part of the software update that the seller is talking about. That it won't update. Yep. Okay. So I'm kind of assuming that the drink must have been poured down here. I don't see any evidence of anything in this case. It's dirty, but no evidence of any liquid anywhere here. The seller said that the drink was poured down it, so I'm assuming it's down here somewhere. If it was, horizontal like this, then it wouldn't have done anything. And that's generally the two ways that these are, stored. So, no evidence of any issues so far. Oh, there we go. That's the big part. It smells super nice. Oh, somebody has made some parts. So obviously, this makes what I want to sell it to make it so upset. Oftentimes when they get these consoles, they take a video about them. They often blame the girlfriend or ex-girlfriend or wife, whoever it is. But I do want to point out that there is always two sides to the story, which makes me wonder what the seller might have done to upset his ex. Now, if you're the one that sold me this console, feel free to put it in the comments. I think that's a story that all of us would be interested in. So this connector right here, I'm not sure what happened here. The wires are down under this black piece. I mean, they always put the black piece on top of those. I'm not sure if that's broken or not on connector. Let's check that out. So far, it actually looks fine, but it did have quite a bit of wiggle to it, so I don't quite use the screw all of it. How's that happen? Okay. I'm just going to leave all those screws in this plate inside of the side, so I can trip on it later and solve them, or just where they go. Okay. Immediately, I see some damage right down there. That's all I see so far. And we got the liquid on the table, some damage. There. Might need to take this disc drive apart too. We can bring up that later though. Now that we have that one, we need to take off these 42 totally necessary screws off this pot. So we can remove that, get down. Got so much so that makes me wonder if they can now back up. I'm just not sure though.
Let me show you the power of shark.
Let's take the cable.
It's been assembled.
That's fine. Now get a low $2.99 per month lease on Rogue.
We won!
Can you tell which app is to trap?
Really strong.
Right here.
So
We'll
that's
download
how
apps.
powerful the
You can
Akatsuki
track.
is.
Okay, there we go. And honestly, not much of a clue. So far, the only evidence of damage is over here, so what I'm thinking is if maybe they poured a drink down here and it got under this chip right here. I don't know. Certainly less damage than I thought there would be so far. We'll see what happens when we get this clamp off and get the other side of the board out. Maybe it's way worse over there. Buying something shiny and new is always the tempting choice, but your current device still has a lot to offer. Right now, iFixit is offering 20% off of iPhone screen and battery parts during their Skip the Upgrade promotion, but it only lasts a couple more days. This is my personal phone, and the other day I dropped it and cracked the bad glass. But when stuff like this happens, it's always tempting to get rid of it and just buy a new device. When this is a perfectly good phone, it just needs a new back glass. Now, the hard thing about screens and batteries in iPhones is if you go to replace them, a lot of times you do some searching online and you find replacement parts, but you never know the quality of those replacement parts. With iFixit, you always know you're getting very high quality parts and a great warranty. For batteries especially, it's very common for manufacturers to make these, but a lot of third-party manufacturers don't make them as well as the original, but iFixit only offers high quality parts. I'll put a link right in the description that'll take you right to iFixit, but be sure to take advantage of the sale in the next couple days because it is ending soon. Alright. Now let's see what the liquid metal looks like. Definitely have a dry spot right there. That is actually mostly to be expected these days on these older models especially. Other than that though, this board looks excellent. So I'm kind of expecting this area the most because that is where the Wi-Fi chip is, and I don't see anything at all on this side of the board. So this is the only thing I see on the whole board that shows any sort of liquid damage. And just after I say that, I guess there is maybe a tiny bit over here. I feel like the seller must have taken this thing apart and cleaned it off. If it was 6 ounces of liquid that went in this thing, like that would definitely be noticeable. And it's just not. I'm wondering if the reason it won't update is just because of the disk drive and the disk drive ribbon cable. So that's the ribbon cable right there, and you can see there is some corrosion on these little pads right here. And if the PS5 can't communicate with the disk drive, it will not let it update. So what I'm thinking is this might actually be a super easy fix, and we might just need to replace this cable. We need to check out that connector though that this goes into. That's going to be this guy right here, and actually looking at it, I don't see any problems at all with that. So I think the plan of attack here is going to be to clean off this corrosion. We do need to respread this liquid metal and take care of this dry spot, but then after that, take a closer look at this disk drive. Let's get it apart, look at the inside, and then inspect these connectors a little bit closer and see if there's anything going on there. So first, let's take care of this little dry spot here. Oh, it's actually not even that oxidized. That's good. Unless it's just dry. Sometimes there's a layer of oxidation you have to kind of rub off of the APU. Doesn't really seem to be the case here. Oh yeah, that's good. Okay, that's feeling really good actually. And same thing here. Okay, really not too bad there. Next, let's take care of this board. And really all we need to do here is just get this corrosion cleaned off. So I'll come in with my metal dental pick, which is not how I recommend to do it for most people, it's just something I've gotten used to. There we go. And my wife's toothbrush with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol. I'll just clean the other connectors while we're at it. Okay, and that's looking much cleaner. Now I'm actually going to start assembling this. I'm going to get the board back in and the clamp and top plate on, and then we'll take a look at that disk drive. Now with this plate on and all these screws in, let's take a look at this disk drive, and we need to take a closer look at this ribbon cable. And take a look at the ribbon cable first here under the microscope. Let's see if we have any breaks in these traces. All this gunk is fine, it needs to be cleaned off, but it's not like a bunch of corrosion or anything. Okay, that all might actually be okay. Let's check this side. Let's go over here. Okay, I actually have hope for this ribbon cable. Let's get this cleaned off a little bit better. And not sure if this pin is good enough to work or not, but we can find out. Actually, it might be okay.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be having AI choose my makeup. And I know what you're thinking, how on earth do you do that? Well, I'll tell you. Through partnership with Microsoft, I'm going to be having the app Copilot choose my makeup. I'm going to be sending Copilot a picture of my bare face and asking it to create a makeup look based on my features and what it recommends. And we're going to follow along as it is a tutorial. Shall we get started? Okay, so I'm going to start by taking a picture of my face and sending it into Copilot. So let's take a little picture. I'm a little sunburned right now. Oh my gosh, I just realized I don't know how to not make that duck face when I take photos. I don't know. I just always do. Okay, let's send that, and then I look so must have been that. I don't know. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Super makeup technique work. So looks you've been experimenting with? Yeah, actually, I was about to ask you. So I want your opinion on, based on the photo I sent you, what should I do to create like a glamour makeup look that is like meant for my face and just like makes the most sense? What do you think, Copilot?
For glamour tailored to your face, focus on radiant skin, bold eyes, and a polished finish. Start with a luminous foundation and concealer to even out your skin tone. Lay it and contour to accentuate your cheekbones. For the eyes, go for dramatic lashes and a shimmering absolutely. Send them over. I'm going to pick the best one for your dry skin to keep it looking flawless and radiant.
Thank you. Okay, let's take a photo. I'm going to show you guys the foundation options. I'm going to send into Copilot and have her pick which one she thinks will be best for my skin type. And if you guys want to follow along while I do this, you can use the little code here to download the Copilot for yourself and ask Copilot what makeup looks best for you, or anything else that you're interested in. Alright, let's take a wee photo, shall we? Look at those little...
For dry skin, Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter is a fantastic choice. It offers a glowy finish and hydrates skin beautifully.
Okay, perfect. You think that that is the best foundation I should use out of the 3 options I said?
Yes, for dry skin, the Charlotte Tilbury's option is top notch, giving you that radiant glow without burning out your skin.
Okay, thank you, Copilot. Any tips on how I should apply?
Actually, it might be okay. Alright. Now then, that's the worst. See how much of this gunk will just come off. Actually, quite a bit of it coming right off. That's good news. So, let's do a little bit of scraping on this. Try and get as much of this off as we can. This ribbon cable, I think it's actually in okay condition. I don't see any major permanent damage on this thing. These are pretty cheap to replace though, so even if there was permanent damage, that's not the worry. The more of the worry is the connector on the disk drive, because if the ribbon cable is this bad, that means that the connector could be pretty bad too. How's that? Not bad at all. I think this just might work. But let's take a look at the disk drive and the connector there and see how bad that is. Oh yeah, that's going to be a problem. I'm going to get this board off of the disk drive and then we can take a look at it a little bit closer. Now this sticker has also been removed, so that tells me that somebody knew there was a disk drive issue and they probably were trying to get their disk out of it. Alright, now we'll just take this off a little bit. Well, there's more screws we need to get to. One right here. One right here. Oh, and I think I might see some more. I wonder if the joint was in disk drive. If that's the case, then make sure I save the whole sure, even if he has to replace the whole Alright. I think those are Yep. Alright. So, here we go. This cable, this little red vine cable, and this little cable over here. And there we go. Take a closer look at this board in a minute. Let's look at this disk drive a little bit closer. I'm just going to take off this metal plate here. just to see what it looks like on the inside of the car. And all that's good to be. That looks hot. Looks like it's right. Most of the damage. So let's get in there and focus on that and see what's going on. Alright, this is the damage we know about, right?
I also saw I went to inside a figurine store over there in Santa Anita.
There, damage over here.
They have a Goku Rosé figurine, but it's like the one you have up there, like one of the big ones. And they also had your favorite character from Dragon Ball, Vegeta, in a Super Saiyan Blue form.
So, you start up here. You can expect out. Yep. That looks better. The pad right here kind of has a little bit of a hole. The circuit still leads all the way through just fine. Alright, now it works. This is from over here. You can see just kind of sat right here. This is supposed these pens. So let's get this all cleaned up. See what repairs we have to do. And I am very surprised. It actually looks, in fact, like a young plant. Even though there was any break there, this might be so good. To get up under here to refresh a little bit better, but I don't know, I'm actually hoping we might have to soldering on this. Yep, okay, I think that's about as good as we're going to get it. I don't think there's any permanent problems here. Yep, see that is connected just fine there. Now that it's clean, that's going to work just fine, I think. So let's get this put back together. We'll test out this disk drive and see if it works. If the disk drive works, then it should update. That goes like that, and this goes like this. Alright, and now the metal plate is going to go right here. Disk drive is ready to go now. Alright, here we go. This cover can go on. These guys go like this. And there we go. Well, let's get this thing plugged in and see if it works. So I've got it all plugged in. I do want to say before I start this thing up, if you don't already know, the Tronix Fix team and I have created a Tronix Fix Discord. If you want to come hang out with myself and the team over on Discord, I'll put a link to our server right in the description. Now, let's see if the disk drive works. It has power. Power to the console. Blue light. Okay, good so far. System software update installing. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, that's looking good so far. Well, let's put a disk in and see if the disk spins up. Apparently I already pressed that. After it restarts. So we've got it all started up. Let's see if it's going to play a disc. Here we go. Takes it in. Shows the disc icon, spinning disc. Will it show up? Oh, it's spinning up. It's good. And there we go. So we fixed another PS5. Be sure to go to the links in the description if you want to check out iFixit or come hang out on the Tronix Fix Discord. If you like this type of video and you want to see a video where I try to fix a PS5 that was burned in a house fire, I'll put a link to that video up on your screen now. Be sure to be good to your significant other today, and I hope you have a good one.
Have you been injured in a car accident recently? Wondering if you need a lawyer? If you've been hurt in a car accident and it wasn't your fault,
Hey Steve, my angry girlfriend broke my PS5, actually ran over it with a car. I was wondering, is there any way you can repair it? I don't think it's messed up too bad, honestly. We'll be the judge of that. Here we clearly have a PS5 digital. The fan is messed up. We've got this plastic piece messed up over here. It has not been opened before. This is the warranty seal right here, so nobody has opened it. And then over under here, this whole case piece right here is broken out. And I can actually move the fan, and it's just scraping around in there. So I don't know what we're going to get to in this one, but let's get it apart and see what we find. Before we get it all the way apart, I do want to plug it in and just see what it does, so that gives us maybe an idea of what might be wrong with it. And it's just not powering out at all. I'm pretty sure this ribbon cable is probably detached in here, so I am going to have to at least
What are you gonna do?
cover to attach that, and then we can try and power it on after that and see if it'll power on.
What?
The dirt coming off of my socks.
Okay, and this is the fan. Well, I mean, we can get a cool look at the little board inside the fan. A while back, I made a video about a PS5 that had liquid damage, and the only thing that was actually damaged was this board on the fan. And one of these chips right here just had a lot of liquid damage, and unfortunately there was just no way to fix it because these fans aren't meant to come apart. You can see right here is where this top piece just broke away from the rest of the fan. That's actually connected right here, and unfortunately they just make it so it's impossible to get apart. But this is what that little board on the fan looks like for any of you that were curious from that other video I did where the fan board was damaged. This fan is definitely not fixable.
You're gonna play or what?
And here is the little ribbon cable that's come detached. So let's attach it. And
I don't see you folding.
Power it on and see what happens.
So I'm doing my.
Let's see what happens when I press the button.
Ow.
You get a beep, but that's it. I do see that the HDMI port has been totally pushed back onto the board, so we're going to have to at least take care of that. And then when we get this thing all the way apart, we can inspect the board for any other obvious things.
Listen to me and keep moving. An enemy squad is attacking the village right now. Yamato's
Now with those
defending
43
with
screws
created
out of this
using
metal
wood
plate,
style,
let's
but
take
there
it
are
out and
just
see
too
the
many
damage.
enemies.
Okay, we got a ribbon cable
You need to guard the
disconnected
gates
here.
with your life so that they don't get inside the village.
It actually looks like it's still working. So, good there. Right here is the HDMI port. You can see how that's totally shut down. You can see that one's like that. All the way out to the other side. I don't see any of the damage on this part of the video, so let's take the clamp off. That is still in place. I guess not up to that going on.
Manifests devastate all of our raging attempts.
Enemy reinforcements.
TMR stands among the most struggling companies ever created capable of transforming technology counter specific conditions. The transformation and in turn the tidal power. The first field thunder spear unleashes a double strike based on the maximum output consuming some HP to deal additional damage. Seconds in seal life sacrifices a portion of her health to bless all individuals. And heal of attack effects which determines throughout eternity chance her own health into a devastating attack against all enemies with a chance to taunt them upon evolving to target other characters. TMI deals with unspoken purge damage. The massive damage but also restores a significant portion of her health from passive skill. allows her to show the portion of damage meant for allies. When she loses or recovers a certain percentage of her hits, she automatically gains increased healing effects. Once her health stacks reach a threshold, Tiamat instantly transforms into a powerful dragon hunter. However, each action in the state is increasing the number of dragon blood stacks. To maximize her potential, Tiamat needs strong healing support from both animals and shell enemies. The achievement maintains the fragment first. The sight where its weakest tool is inflicted upon her, as endless as her pain is her burning burn.
Okay, and now we ready for that. Alright. And it's actually all fun. Potential damage. This other essentially side of these bends. Oh, like a little bit of wave in here. Right over here, especially part of the I don't think that's enough to cause any damage. These are about 6 layers, I think, and you don't want to make damage, but it's probably now like things like that on. So what we have to do before anything mode is get this HDMI. You can see how the port has just been shoved back, and sometimes that will damage even without what do they get damage. So what I'm going to do is use a hot air soldering station to work this port up, and the solder until the solder melts. That'll make this port just fall right out. Then we'll inspect the board, and the board looks good. Then we'll install a new port onto the board. So this is a look at the whole port. You can see those little pins in here are totally chewed up. Also these pins on the back, they're also very messed up. We also had one of these mounting pins that was broken off into the board. So this port definitely needed to be replaced.
Netflix and Shinobi, who all wanted to bring Streamer University to their platform.